Hello, and welcome to Washington Exec's Veterans Day series, where we're speaking with leaders supporting veterans in the workforce in a variety of ways. I'm Rachel Kirkland with Washington Exec, and it's my pleasure to be speaking with Jeff Carson. Jeff is Peraton's Senior Talent Acquisition Outreach Lead, focused on military and veterans, and he is an Army veteran himself. Jeff, thanks for joining me today, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for having me today.
My pleasure. Tell us about your personal connection to the veteran community. I know you're a veteran yourself, but expand on why supporting veterans is so important to you.
Well, Rachel, while I was on active duty, I served as an online recruiter, and that's really where my passion for the veteran community started. It was a great opportunity to really help someone as far as their career advancement, and that's kind of how I got my motivation too. And also, my last active duty assignment was an assignment manager, where I placed soldiers on assignment, nominated them for different schools, different assignments such as drill sergeant and recruiting. And so just giving back and assisting has always been a passion for mine. And it kind of rolled into when I transitioned in 2007. I always had this urge to always whatever I learned, whatever was beneficial, whoever helped me, was to give back. And it's that's always stuck with me. Even in my first role as a recruiter, always the first thing I did was went back to the TAP office to say, hey, how can I give? How can I assist? Because I've always looked back and I look at the veterans that are transitioning and I see myself there. And I'm like, I've always said, I'm going to go back and help just like someone else.
Wonderful. Now, how does your company recognize, work with, and support the veteran community throughout the year now?
So what we do is throughout the year, we have, first of all, we have a dedicated web page that is specifically for the veteran community. We give a lot of information, data, stats about our veteran hiring initiatives and stats, how many veterans that we have, which is currently about 4,200 in our veteran community, little around 24%. We host podcasts. We started this about a year ago. Our military veteran team of 3, myself and 2 of my colleagues that are veterans, we host podcasts and we go over topics such as resume writing, interviewing, networking, LinkedIn, everything in a real informal setting where they can ask questions, or we can, really assist them in their insecurities when it comes to certain areas. Also, we have virtual events. We host virtual events throughout the year. There's one that we host at Peraton called Coast to Coast, where we're literally setting up different events throughout the country where our talent acquisition team are set up throughout the nation, where we do these once a quarter. And it's just a major U.S. blast where we have our own hiring events in person and also virtual. So we're definitely always active in the veteran community, trying to reach out to support the veterans.
Yeah, and what role do you play in these efforts?
Well, I'm the primary outreach lead. I'm spend a lot of time on the road in attending in-person events at the TAP classes. I'm a presenter and many of our partners in person, such as On the Job Opportunity, MSEP, Military Spouse Employment Partnership. So even though we are engaged veterans virtually, I'm in the Washington D.C. metropolitan area, so I spend a lot of time doing in-person events. Where since COVID, a lot of organizations are now bringing service members back, and that's probably about 90% of where my activity is in-person events.
Jeff, can you talk a little bit more about your company's strategy for attracting and retaining veterans, and how does the veteran population impact Peraton's as a company and impact its mission?
One of our strategies is we participate in the SkillBridge program. That's an important part of what we do. One of our members on our teams, he's dedicated. His responsibilities is to respond to all those that are inquiring about becoming a SkillBridge intern. So that's a big piece to what part that we play. And also, as I mentioned with our podcast, that's also a big piece to how we attract veterans. To first of all, to tell them about our story of Peraton, or what our mission and our capability, and how we, how transitioning from a service member to Peraton it's an easy transition because of how we really support and how we honor them.
Jeff, do you have a personal story that you can share about yourself as a veteran?
Yeah, one thing that comes to mind, Rachel, and there was a situation when I transitioned. I was probably getting roughly a couple months from transitioning, and I hadn't had any job offers yet. And one of the things that I did was I pivoted. My MOS, my occupation in the military was actually in the transportation field, and so volunteering to be a recruiter was a detail. And so when I transitioned, I had to really pivot and say, focus my resume and my background on being an actual DoD recruiter. And so I struggled with it. Went to many mock interviews, and I can still remember one time one of the interviewers told me, kind of reassured me that I would be okay to continue to practice. And so just having that encouragement, many times veterans just need to have some type of support, encouragement, just to let them know that, it's going to take some practice, but eventually you'll get a job. One of the things I always reassure veterans is that you will find a job. Just hang in there, keep trying. And there's a lot of support out there to help you. Just reach out and ask.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. And Jeff, considering the GovCon industry and that so many companies are made up of veteran employees, why do you think it's important to continue recognizing veterans and supporting veterans and their families, not just on Veterans Day, but all year round?
Well, that's as I mentioned earlier, um, one of our core values is we honor those that have served, and that's the first value that we list on our careers page. So, with being a national security powerhouse, we couldn't be who we are without our veteran community. They play a big role with all of their skills, with their background, the clearances that they acquire, and they play a big piece in the success of Peraton.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for coming on and joining me today.